I wanna know ya. Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya. Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya.
Hey everybody, hello, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm Gina Paige. I'm the president and co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com, and you can see I have a different background. So I am coming to you from Accra, Ghana, West Africa. We're doing something a little different tonight. Welcome everybody. I'm on my phone, so I can't see the comments, so I can't do my usual shouting y'all out. But hello to everybody. I know all the regulars are here, and I appreciate you all being with us tonight. For those of you, oh, okay, I can see you, Zenobia. I want to know you exactly. So listen, we're AfricanAncestry.com. We are the pioneers of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people all around the world. And we are on a mission to help Black people transform the way we view ourselves and the way we view Africa. And we do that through DNA. And so I'm just honored to do this work and to be able to travel the world and help people learn more about themselves on the continent of Africa. So 2 weeks ago, we came to Sierra Leone, to Freetown, Sierra Leone, for the second African Ancestry Family Reunion, Sierra Leone. And you all hopefully saw our video of the inaugural African Ancestry Family Reunion. If you missed it, or if you want to see it again, because it is just that dope, I want you to visit AfricanAncestry.com/watch, and you'll be able to see that video. It was an incredible experience for everyone. And this one was no different. I mean, this time we had 26 people who joined us, and not everyone is from Sierra Leone. So you only have to be a member of the family to come. You don't have to be from Sierra Leone. You just have to be a member of the family. So we were in the country for 2 weeks. The group got citizenship. So President Bio gave citizenship to another 40 or so people from the diaspora, from the US, from Canada, the Caribbean. And we're on a mission, y'all. We are reconnecting Black people, like I said, to their African roots through DNA. And as you all know, we come to you every Wednesday evening. And the first person to shout us out on the broadcast wins some African Ancestry swag. What's up, Eddie Meeks? How you doing? Shout out to Eddie Meeks, soon to be Judge Eddie Meeks, down there in, I think it's Mecklenburg County, in Charlotte, North Carolina. I always say the county wrong. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. So tonight's winner will get the African Ancestry Remember Who You Are Study Guide, Volume 1, which is full of activities, quizzes, journal prompts, a discount coupon, all sorts of things to help you explore your history as a person of African descent. It's interactive, so there are QR codes in there that lead you to videos and to music and all sorts of things. So Eki Famous, congratulations for winning the Remember Who You Are study guide. And for those of you who didn't win, you could just go to AfricanAncestry.com and cop your copy. Give it to somebody for a holiday gift. Anyway. We also did Reveal Day while I was in Sierra Leone. On the 27th, the Saturday after Black Friday, we did Reveal Day, and that was something to see. We had over 100 people found out. They opened their results together online and found out where they were from. We had a great time. Shout out to Sangu Jakam for co-hosting that with me. And we had a little blip because the internet, the hotel lost power, so I lost the internet. And if that happens here tonight, Wendy will step in. But after that, people were eligible to join the online community. And so I wanted to just give you guys some reminders about how you can join the African Ancestry online community on Facebook. First of all, it's a private group. That means it's exclusive Membership has its privileges. You have to be an African Ancestry family member to join the AAOC, as we call it. And not everybody gets in. The way we know that you're a family member is if you give us the test taker name and the kit ID number, which is a 7-digit ID number that you needed to activate your kit. There are going to be a couple of questions in there that you have to answer. And then you got to give us at least 3 days to approve your registration. So many people are coming in that it just takes time to get through everybody. But it's going to take longer if you don't follow the directions. So if you don't put your name that's on your kit, if you don't put your kit ID number, you're not going to get in. You're just not. So please follow the directions, and you'll be able to join. And that's a community where people are sharing resources, information. Ty does a wrap up Ty is the community manager. She does a wrap up every Friday. They do all sorts of things in there. I know they have some challenges, the Temini against the Balanta and stuff like that. So be sure to register for the online community so that you can get all that there is to offer from African Ancestry, your membership with us. And I'm supposed to ask you if you like the broadcast, to share it, to subscribe. That would really help us build up our numbers so we can do even more for you with these broadcasts. So please share it, tell all your friends about it. And if you subscribe, then you'll be notified when each new show starts. Shout out to Yakota Strong. Yakota was one of the people who came on the African Ancestry Family Reunion and changed his life. What was your Temini name? Pa Capri Oloya. I missed the Temini naming ceremony, but I understand from Yakota and others that one was the lit ceremony. So Nina wants to know, what if you already have your result certificate? What do you mean? What if you already have it? I need more to your question so I can answer it. Mahal is in the house. So that's what I have in terms of housekeeping. I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready to talk to our guests. I've been waiting for them all week. It just keeps getting better and better. Shout out to Wendy Cherry, who is the African Ancestry Live producer, because she helps us to get the most incredible guests. And tonight is no exception. We have 2 guests tonight, 2 powerful women who are helping us reconnect and recognize our ancestry and do some ancestral healing. Our first guest, well, I shouldn't say first or second, but the first guest that I'll introduce is Anita Kopacz, and I should have made sure I pronounced her name correctly. She's the author of the Simon and Schuster fiction novel Shallow Waters. I will tell you all that I've been listening to it online, on my phone, and her sister is the narrator. It's the second title that Charlemagne the God released on his new imprint, Black Privilege Publishing. You all know that Charlemagne is a friend of the family. He's one of our cousins. Anita has all sorts of journalism chops. She's the former editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul magazine. Hope you guys remember that. I used to really like that magazine. And the managing editor of Beauty Sense magazine. She's an award-winning writer, a spiritual psychologist. We're going to talk about that, and a certified tantra coach with a passion to see people thrive. Anita is special because she created the Zero F's Given campaign, which raises awareness and helps victimized and disenfranchised populations heal from sexual trauma, find their voice, and reclaim their power. That's what we've been focusing on this month, you are reclaiming your power. And I'm excited to talk to Anita about that. She's helped thousands and thousands of victims through her work with Zero F's Given and being on the board for the Center for Safety and Change. She's an award-winning writer. She's going to win an award for Shallow Waters, you guys. You heard it from me first. and a spiritual psychologist with a passion to see people thrive. I said that already. She received her bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley in interdisciplinary studies. We have to talk about that, Anita. I went to Stanford, and has an MA in spiritual psychology from the University of Santa Monica. She's also a tantra coach, like I told you, and the author of the book Finding Your Way. I want to see some emojis. I want to see some gifts. I want to see some hand claps, some hearts, some something in the chat, in the comments for Anita Kopacz. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And then our second guest that I'm going to introduce is African Ancestry family, Dr. Velma Love. She is an author, a sacred scholar. I love that title. She is a sacred scholar, an ancestral lineage healing practitioner. You know we need that. A narrative coach. Offer to juicy conversation tonight. She's passionate about healing collective trauma. She engages the elemental essence of the storyteller, her narrative coaching, right? To help clients enter the ancestral realm, align with their generational gifts, and release their genius in the world. Y'all not ready. She's a South Carolina native, and as Anita's mentor, she wrote the foreword to the book. They collaborate all the time, which is why we're honored to have both of them with us here tonight. Hey, ladies. Here we go.
Hi.
Hey. So good to have you all with us tonight. Thank you for joining me. And I'm so glad the internet's working so I get to talk to you.
I'm so excited too. I know that we're muting and unmuting, so it's such an honor to be here. Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Dr. Love, how are you feeling this evening?
I'm well, thank you. Gina, it's good to see you. It's great to be here and be part of this conversation. I am hyped about African ancestry because I got my DNA test done about a year ago. And I tell you what, I've just been going up ever since.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. First of all, why did you take an African ancestry test? Why was that important?
That was important to me because I was part of some networks of people who were actually working with ancestral lineage. And when everyone introduced themselves, they named their country of origin. And I didn't know my country of origin. I knew I had people from Africa, but that's all I could say. And I got tired of saying, I'm Velma Love from South Carolina in the USA. And that was the end of it, right? And other people were naming these countries. And I thought, I need to do this. So I had done the ancestry test and I had these percentages, but that really didn't help me. And then someone told me about African ancestry. And I was so excited. I did order the test and did the swab and sent it in. And I couldn't wait. And I kept waiting. And like, oh my God, when am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? I was so excited. And it was over a year ago. I think it was in July 2020 that I got the results. And I was shaking. I was so excited about really finding out. And I found out that my maternal lineage comes from Sierra Leone and Guinea-Bissau, so the Timni people and the Balanta people. So that really made my day.
Shout out to the Timni and the Balanta. So I was just in your home, Dr. Love. You got to come with us next time. You got to come home.
I do. Yeah. That's my plan.
So were you surprised by the results? Because you're from South Carolina. So I imagine that you had some idea about a potential Sierra Leonean connection. Is that true?
I should have, but I actually didn't. I didn't. I had done a lot of work. I had done research in Nigeria. I'm initiated into the Ifa tradition. And so all of my focus
Mhm.
was really on that part of West Africa. And so then, I mean, after I got the results, I was like, oh yeah, I don't, why didn't I think about this? Because then I know the Gullah people and the connection that had been made with Sierra Leone. But no, I didn't think about that at all. It was new for me.
Well, that's okay. Now you know. And
Now I know.
so, how has it impacted you now that knowing the results?
Knowing the results has really had a tremendous impact, because just the idea that there was a woman who lived in that area who survived the Maafa. I call it the long dark night of the soul. She was a survivor,
Mm.
and she ended up here in the Carolinas. And I think about the fact that I am here because of that woman. So for me, I owe her. I owe her. I can honor her by going back to the homeland, to standing on that ground, to really finding out the stories of the people, to getting my citizenship. It's part of the way that I can honor that ancestor. And I think about, it gives me strength, it gives me power to think about that woman who survived. And yes.
You know, the other thing that I often tell people, Dr. Love, and I've never had the chance to talk to you before, so I'm not sure that you would have heard it, but all of those things that you say that you owe to that woman and that we owe as the descendants of our foremothers are spot on. But did you know that the part of the DNA that we used to determine your ancestry, that's the part that powers our cells? It's mitochondrial DNA is what provides the energy for our cells to function. So we literally would not function if it was, and we have the exact same mitochondrial DNA as that woman from hundreds of years ago. So we really would not function were it not for her.
Wow. Wow. No, I didn't know. I didn't know that. But that's really even more exciting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This connection to the ancestors and the work that you do, exploring the ancestors, how did that, it is so important to all of us. How did you get to the place where you decided you were going to do ancestor work?
Yeah, I think, well, being a descendant of slaves, of enslaved Africans, growing up in South Carolina, I always had a desire to be a freedom fighter. That was my goal when I was a child. I wanted to be a justice worker. I wanted to, and the civil rights workers were my heroes. So I was always looking for a way to make a contribution to the liberation of Black people. And I did all kinds of things. I studied sociology. I did community development. I did community arts. I went to seminary. I studied African spirituality, and I was initiated in all of this. And I still felt like there was a missing piece. And when I heard about African ancestry and I heard about ancestral healing work, I decided to become certified as an ancestral lineage healing practitioner as a way of helping Black people. Because by this time, I had come to realize that we needed to be reconnected, that there was some power in being reconnected. And I began to do that research to find out, well, what's the value in doing ancestral work? And then what I discovered was that um, some of the research shows that even thinking about the ancestors creates a positive psychological effect that can help people perform better intellectually, just thinking about their ancestors. And then there's research with adolescents showing that adolescents who know their family narrative have stronger coping skills, have uh, are more resilient, are better able to self-regulate and to perform well. So just knowing those bits of information were kind of was motivating for me to say, okay, this is something, this is a strategy that I want to be able to take to more and more Black people. So that's how that happened.
Thank you for doing that, because it is so important. We talk about this, and I've been saying some of these things since we started the company, how important this is for us psychologically. But I didn't necessarily have the research like you're talking about to support it. So thank you for letting people know, validating that there is research that shows the positive impact on our psychology of knowing who we are and where we're from. And speaking of psychology, I also didn't know, just like I didn't know there was a such thing as a sacred scholar, and I want to know how I can become a sacred scholar, Dr. Love. I didn't know that there were spiritual psychologists, so I really want to get Anita in on the conversation. We can manage the mutes to explain what spiritual psychology is.
Yes, absolutely. So spiritual psychology is basically regular psychology, but they've added the layer of spirituality. So the well-being, the well person in spiritual psychology is simple. It's someone who knows how to love and be loved. So if you are in a place where you are allowing yourself to be loved and you're able to fully love, that is the well-being. So any of the blocks that stop you from that, that's what we explore. And for me, the reason I went into spiritual psychology is that ever since I was young, I've been a clairvoyant, and I've been doing readings for people since I was 18. And that was a long time ago in Berkeley, right? Like when you said you went to Stanford, do you know what we used to say about people in Stanford and Berkeley?
I can only imagine.
So anytime someone would say Stanford, we'd go, Sss. I don't know why.
Let me tell you, I didn't know anything about Berkeley. Because I'm from DC, so wow. I didn't know about Berkeley, in the UC system. And when I got to Stanford and I learned about Berkeley, I was like, I should have gone to Berkeley. I'm much more of a Berkeley person.
They're both such awesome schools, Yeah. And Berkeley was amazing for me. And that was where I developed most of my skills and started doing readings. And when I realized that my clients, and this was a long time ago, I know a lot of people do readings now. This was like when the only people you could find doing readings are like palm readers, on the streets. And so right. It was not a lot of people doing it at that time. And what I realized is that people just kept coming back. And, during that time, like their ancestors would speak through me. Like there's different, spirits that would come through. And so they would just come back. And it seemed like they just came back with the same issues and the same problems. And I'm like, I need to do something where I can learn the tools to help people, so it doesn't feel like they're just coming back and like it's almost like they would come back for the show. They'd be like, how do you know that? And I'm like, it's not new. You know it too. Because that's another thing, is that I feel like if anyone drops in, that's what I've always thought. I was like, if anyone drops in, they'll know it. Like that's what it's always felt like. And so I went and I did my master's. I ended up doing my master's in spiritual psychology. Yeah.
How do you,
This
it's
is
such heavy work.
both you, the
Both
work
of
that
you, the
you
work
and
that you
Dr.
and
Love
Dr.
do
Love do
is very
is very
heavy.
heavy.
So how do
So
you
how do you
stay
stay
balanced? How do you
balanced?
stay
How do you stay
healthy
healthy
mentally,
mentally,
spiritually,
spiritually,
physically?
physically?
That's a great question. So, one of the things that someone had told me that really helped me with clients, they said, imagine when a client comes in, like you're opening a book, right? You're opening a book. And when they leave, you close it, right? So that you're closing the energy and they're taking their energy with you. So it's not being left, because I have 3 children, you know, like I have my own life that I have to stay and have my energy for. And so that's one thing that has helped me. And then I also am like a huge advocate for self-care. So, you know, I will get my massages. I will take a nice long nap if I need one in the middle of the day without feeling guilty. And I'm a very slow being. Like, I move slow. And so what actually helped me get back on track with that was COVID. And because I was moving really fast, I was doing so many things, and I didn't realize that I was moving faster than my spirit, right? Until COVID hit and everything slowed down. And I was like, oh, this feels right. This feels so right. And I was reminded of how I was when I was younger. And I was literally someone who'd stop and smell the roses and sit and talk to them. So,
I didn't know that people really did that. I honestly thought that that was just a figure of speech.
it was me.
And then one day I was driving to work
And
and I saw your cousin, and she was actually smelling a flower on the side of the road. Oh, it's real.
I love it. Oh my
I need to
goodness.
do that. Dr. Velma, Dr. Love, how do you
Stay balanced.
balance?
Yes. So one of the things that yeah, how do I stay balanced? I always invite my ancestors to be part of the work. And I think of it in terms of I'm actually not doing the work. Um, I am a facilitator. I invite, and always, when I'm doing formal work, structured work with a client, I always open with a prayer. I invite the well ancestors of the individual. I invite my well ancestors to come and hold the space for us and to protect the space. And that works, because I don't have to feel like I'm carrying this alone, right? So I have the supportive backing of the ancestral realm in the work. Now, aside from that, I like to laugh, but I'm a serious person. But if I can laugh, it always helps me rejuvenate my energy. So people like Anita make me laugh, right? She always so she is laughter. And I have a couple of friends that I will call, and they will just say silly things that will make me laugh. And that a balancing act for me. I grew up in the country, so I learned to love nature. And I've been away from nature for a while, but after doing this work, I realized the importance of embracing, I say, all of the kin being the deers, that the deer people that live in my neighborhood. When I go out walking, and it's just refreshing to lay eyes on the deer. To slow down, as Anita says, to go to the river, to walk by the river, to gaze into the water, to think about Oshun and Yemiya as I gaze into the water. So just using, sort of expanding the worldview of who our allies are, our human allies and our other than human allies, actually help sustain. Yeah.
One of the just learned a lot. So some things that I mean, people, I know that the idea of slowing down, but somehow the way you said it, Anita, that you're a slow person, if you just make that not something you do, but when you need to, like to stop and slow down, to actually incorporate moving more slowly through things so that you don't always have to slow down as a form of protection. I think that resonates with me. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it, but it resonates with me for sure. And I'm wondering how the two of you, so we have a sacred scholar with us, and then we have a writer. And it seems like, and dare I say, you're a writer for the masses or for popular culture. Would that be a fair description of you, Anita?
Yes, that's part of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm
I'm
thinking
thinking about
the
the magazines
and
and
Yes, exactly.
the historical fiction that you've written.
And those are kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum to me in a way. Just my own interpretation of sacred scholarship. So maybe you could define what a sacred scholar is, Dr. Love, so I can speak intelligently.
I have a colleague who coined that phrase, and I thought, well, I do what you do, so I must be a sacred scholar as well. But the idea is that I'm an educator, and so I actually teach in a seminary, and all of my work as a teacher, as a professor, I consider to be sacred. So it is as a calling, it's sort of tapping into the in the Yoruba sense, we use the term Ori, is that divine, the divinity of the self, the divine within, and expressing the genius that we have that is uniquely ours. So a sacred scholar is just mindful of that. I say in my work as an educator, my goal is to be able to touch the spirit through the teaching, to touch the spirit of the person, to awaken the genius within my students. And I think that's a sacred act. Yeah.
So I think both of you do that. You both touch the spirit. Dr. Love, I see you as touching the spirit of the student. And Anita, I see you touching the spirit of a broader audience all at one time, right? She deals, as an educator, you often deal with groups, right? Smaller groups, but you're touching the masses with your work. How do you think, or do you think that the impact is different? You're doing similar work in a way, but you're doing it on different levels. Do you think that there's a different impact when at those different levels?
It's so interesting that you say it like that, because when I was younger, and a part of the things I would do within my readings is that I would write, and one of the things that came through when Spirit was talking to me, that they basically told me it will be one at a time will be touched, right? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like our work is so similar, and we weave it in so many ways, and that's why I thought it was really important for Dr. Love to write the foreword to Shallow Waters, and we both speak to the spirit. And I wrote Shallow Waters as a love letter to Black women, and for us to remember who we really are. So for me now, I'm so excited. So I finally bought my African Ancestry kit. So that
She's coming to the family. She's coming to the family.
I'm coming to the family.
She is part of the family.
Yes. So, but I'm like laughing because I'm like, oh my goodness, what if she's white?
You'll be like all the rest of us. All the rest of us. We all got some white branches in our family tree.
Oh gosh. So I'm super excited. I know that my uncle has done some work in finding where our ancestors have come from, and as far as I know, it's from Nigeria and Ghana. And so, but it would be really good to like actually know. Oh, Zenobia says we're all mixed up, sis. Don't even worry about it.
We'll just keep testing. We'll just keep testing different lines until we find an African one.
Okay.
That's all.
Oh man. Oh man.
No,
yes.
No,
So, and you know what was really interesting, because speaking to the spirit and understanding, I'm also, my brain actually works as like a scientist and mathematician. I did civil engineering at Berkeley, so it wasn't until my last semester that I went in and I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And I was like, can I change my major? And they're like, honey, you're a senior. You're graduating. You can't change your major. And I was like, what about interdisciplinary studies, right? And I changed it last minute. But I feel like, you know, science and spirit, it's so connected. And, you know, with spirit and connecting to your ancestors with spirit, which Dr. Velma Love talks about this as well, using your imagination, because sometimes we can be like, oh my gosh, is that a voice of my ancestor, or is that my imagination? And Dr. Love is like, well, is your imagination a part of you, right? Yes, use your imagination to speak to the ancestors. Mm-hmm. And, you know, one of the times that I was speaking to the ancestors, I was pregnant with my first daughter. And I was laying in bed, and this voice said, you shall name the child Wilhelmina. And I'm like, oh no, her name is Sadie Blue. Right? Like, she already has a name. I'm not naming her Wilhelmina. And I go to sleep. I wake up, my cousin calls, and she's like, our Aunt Wilhelmina died last night. And I was like, I didn't even know we had an Aunt Wilhelmina. Who's Aunt Wilhelmina? And it's my mom's cousin, right? My mom's cousin. So I was like, oh, shit. I'm going to have to name her Wilhelmina, because, right? Yeah. Like, she came through, like, like, before she went over to the other side, like, you're naming this baby Wilhelmina. So I ended up naming her Sadie Wilhelmina Blue. And about 2 years ago, I was at my uncle's house, and I saw this beautiful woman sitting across from me. And this little boy like ran up to her and was like, Grandma, something, something. And the woman looked young, like young. And I was like, wait, did he just say grandma? She was like, yeah. I was like, you're a grandma? She was like, yeah. I was like, are we related? And she's like, yeah, I'm Aunt Wilhelmina's daughter or granddaughter. I can't remember. I was like, oh my gosh, right? And so I'm like, what? And then she's like, yeah, Wilhelmina 8181, Wilhelmina 81. And I'm like, why are you saying 81? Freaking Wilhelmina's birthday was 81. That's when Sadie was born. Sadie came 3 weeks early to come on 8/1 on Wilhelmina's birthday. So
Dr. Love, how do we explain this? Can you please give us some sacred scholarship?
Yes, come on, yes, come on in.
Some things cannot be explained. That's all I can say about that. Wow. That's amazing.
If people wanted to explore this for themselves, like
how can they start on this journey to either
explore ancestral knowledge systems or their own gifts? What would you all recommend?
Well, you can actually have a session with Dr. Love. She like goes in deep with how you do that. But if there's something that you just want to do, so I have my ancestor altar up, and I just speak to them. Yes, Agun comes through with messages all the time, and I just speak to them. If there's a question I have, or if I just want to say hi, or if I want to give them, some offerings, and I speak to them as if I'm speaking to you all now, right? Just and they either respond in dreams. I saw someone in the comments before saying your ancestors speak to you through dreams. So they can speak through dreams, they can speak through your imagination, right? Like if you hear a voice, it's good to figure out, okay, is that an ancestor? Is that an insecurity? Is that, like it's finding out what the different voices are in our heads. And discernment, like discerning, which voices are will help you grow, right? And if it's the well ancestors, they're here to help us grow.
Yeah.
Our ancestors are always with us. It's just a matter of connecting.
Yes, and I'm seeing people are saying, and nature, yes, and through like a lot of angel numbers. They come through answering us with the angel numbers.
I always say that.
Please.
I always say that if we call them, they will come. If we ask, they will answer. And so, but first is, I guess there's an awareness. There has to be an awareness and a lack of fear, because some people will say, well, no, I don't want to talk to dead people. I mean, I don't want that. But if you realize that the ancestral knowledge system is a way of knowing, it's a way of knowing that most of us have been disconnected from, because we grew up being told that things that were African were demonic, and not acceptable. So the I guess the spiritual technology then that our people had, we still have it, but kind of pushed underground. It was spoken about in hushed tones, and now folk are embracing that, and it's becoming more and more acceptable. But just realizing that it's a way of knowing that we are not taught in our formal educational system. Through colonial education, we are not taught about the the indigenous traditional African way of knowing, which was knowing through the body, knowing through the spirit, reading the signs, reading nature, reading clouds, reading energy, reading weather. All of those things are part of the what I call the African knowledge system that we have to awaken ourselves to. And once we do that, then it's easy, really, to make those connections, to go to sleep at night. And before you go to sleep, say, I want my well and wise ancestors to speak to me about whatever your concerns are. And when you wake up, be still for a moment before you jump out of bed. Be still for a moment to recapture the dreams that came during the night, or the knowing that comes, that is present. So it's a matter of making that commitment. Somebody says our ancestors are always near to help us. Yes, because they're in us. We are them. Gina just told us that, like we literally are them, right? We are them and they are us. And so that's a huge resource. I mean, just think about it. When we do the ancestral math, we say if we go back 10 generations, 400 some years, we're talking about over 4,000 people. So those 4,000 ancestors, all those prayers, all those dreams, all of those hopes for you got you here where you are. And so, we just go back and tap into that. And that's a huge resource for empowering ourselves and just opening up that channel of communication. Yes.
I'm part of a business community, and one of their slogans is everything you need is in the room. So it's a community of Black entrepreneurs, and from all different industries and all different types and sizes of businesses. And so when you are in that room, everything you need is in the room. Well, that's exactly what you've just said. Everything we need from our ancestors is present. And it's just tapping into that. It is as the first step to furthering whatever it is we're trying to accomplish. I want to just say one thing, and we have a factor whack that I hope you guys will play with us. But I've noticed since I was spent 2 weeks in Sierra Leone, going throughout the country, and now I'm in Accra in Ghana, and people are constantly coming up to me and saying, "You're doing the ancestors' work. You're making the ancestors proud." I get that over and over again, and I receive it because they're right. And they also are thanking me. And my response is always, it's not me, because I really don't feel like it's me. You know, when I'm about to reveal someone's ancestry and it takes me 3 minutes to get to the point because I'm just crying. I'm not crying because I want to cry. I have no control. I can't even stop. I'm in my rational mind. I'm saying, Gina, stop crying. Tell them where they're from. This is, they're waiting. The anticipation. Could you stop crying? And I can't. And so the third or fourth time that happened to me, I just had to recognize that it's not me. And that, like you said, Dr. Love, I'm just the vessel. I'm the vehicle through which this is happening. And so that was the trigger for me, even though I created African Ancestry, that was the trigger for me to say, okay, I have to be more intentional about honoring these spirits, because they're using me for something. And if I don't honor them, I'm not going to be able to do the best job that I can. So I thank you for that. The two of you are a powerhouse duo. Everybody, I want to make sure that you catch their websites. Wendy's putting the websites up, the IG handles. We got a lot of things. So what we do, Dr. Love and Anita, what we do at African Ancestry in our community is we support. And so that means that everybody is going over to mahoganybooks.com right now and buying a copy of Shallow Waters. That's what they're doing, right? You guys are going there and look at the cover. That's the book you want. And they're going to buy it from mahoganybooks.com because those are our partners. We recycle our dollars. See, and I should pull mine up on my phone. But yes, we have to support this book and not only support the author, but get the lessons. And getting the lessons in such a beautifully written way and beautifully narrated way. As I mentioned in the intro, it's Anita's sister who does the narration of the audio book. And so if you choose to go that route like I did, you will not be disappointed. Both of you do consultations, both of you do trainings. I know that Anita, you had a sacred circle or a women's group.
The Yemaya.
Yes, I have a Yemaya Black Women's Circle. That the one for this year is almost done. We have one more call on it, and then I'll start again next year. So I will definitely share that information. And I think that Gina is. She is blocked. She's not talking now. Oh, there we go. You're back. Are you back? So yes, I do have a Yemaya.
Yeah, we want to make sure that everybody has access.
Okay, perfect. So I did want to say that Shallow Waters is about Yemaya, and
so if we could, let's do Actor Whack.
Okay.
Okay, you're coming in a little choppy. Okay, here we go.
I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to. Please continue, Anita. Wait. Okay. Um,
Oh, maybe Wendy, do you want to come in? Oh, there we go. Yes, she's in. You're muted, Wendy.
We're going to do this fact or whack. So, Dr. Love, will you read the first slide, please?
Once you die, you no longer exist.
So, everybody, you know how we do. What do you think about it? Put fact or whack in the comments and let us know what you think. Once you die, you no longer exist. Is that fact or is that whack? Make us proud, family. Make us proud. Okay. All right. So we're getting King Joseph says whack. Ecky's Famous says whack. Ecky's Famous, be sure to email us, info@africanancestry.com to claim your prize. Glenda says whack. Yakota says whack. Okay, so let's say, what is the, what's the answer, y'all? I'm going to go to the next slide. You're right. It's whack. It is whack. So, Dr. Love, will you explain? Gina has totally dropped off. So, can you explain why that is whack?
Yes, that is whack because we know that consciousness continues after death. So even if you are no longer incarnate in a physical body, your consciousness exists. And that is why we can communicate with the ancestors. If consciousness exists after death, then there's a way to communicate with that consciousness.
Yeah.
So that ancestral work is based on that assumption.
Love it. Okay, we'll go on to the next. The next question, Anita, would you read?
This is the
Yep. Oh, that I was going to say. I was like, it looks exactly like what Dr. Love just said.
And she offered a reference, Ancestral Medicine, Rituals for Personal and Family Healing by Daniel Four, psychologist and ritualist. So, okay, great. We're on to the next.
Hoodoo is a demonic practice. Is that fact or whack?
What do you all think? Is it fact or is it whack? Hoodoo is a demonic practice. Whack. Charlene says fact. Sabrina. Candace. Hey, Candace. Candace says whack. Carolyn says whack. Zenobia says whack. Okay. Sounds like everybody. Mary says she's going to stay on whack. Okay. So let's get the answer. It's whack.
I love this. It's so wiggity whack. And Charlene, so I think Charlene's first fact was, I think she was saying fact from the other one that I read. Yeah.
And Anita, who's a part of the people, is the one who said the whack.
I love it.
But Dr. Love, can you read the answer that you provided?
Hoodoo is a cultural heritage, a body of esoteric knowledge and spiritual wisdom that emerged as a strategy for resisting total mental domination in the southeastern United States during the era of enslavement. And this comes from the Hoodoo Tarot by Tayana Maquilla and Tribal Talk by Dr. Will Coleman.
Just the term mental domination makes my skin crawl for some reason. It just makes my skin crawl. So, you know, we have been taught, I heard hoodoo was the devil, so I'm glad to know, which I knew before, but I'm glad to even know more of why and what it's used for. Like, it was used to suppress us, to create mental domination. That's just a crazy thing. So we appreciate you playing with us, fact or whack. Dr. Gina you know, she's on the continent. It's probably 1 o'clock in the morning over there, and everything just shut down. So she sends her love. She thanks you both so much. And family, she wants you to please, as we said, go to Mahogany Books and pick up Shallow Waters. Pick it up. Just inundate the family over there, Derek, and them with the requests to buy Sister Anita's book. So we thank you both so much. And do you have any last words of wisdom to share with the family as we go into the holidays? Because we know the holidays can be very stressful, and it's not a celebration for everybody. So if each of you would share something to close us out.
Yes. So, well, first I was just going to say that I'm really excited to find out, what my ancestry is. So when I find that out, I'll definitely share that with you all. And as we go into the holidays, it's kind of doing what I had said before, really slowing down and as much as you can, because I know that we a lot of times move into this very crazy space, and just taking a moment to slow down and perhaps just saying 3 things that you're grateful for before you go to sleep. Oh, they're saying hopefully Dr. Gina will do a reveal live. Oh, that would be so cool.
Okay.
Is that a thing? Yes.
That can be a thing, Anita.
Okay.
That can be a thing.
Okay.
Just
That would be great. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Wendy. One of my colleagues, I guess, Bayo Akomolafe, who is a Nigerian psychologist, and he actually describes himself as a psychologist in recovery. He says he has to unlearn all of his Western psychology and embrace the ways of his ancestors and people. But one phrase that he likes to say is that the times are urgent, so let us slow down.
wow.
So you think of urgency meaning speeding up, but the times are urgent, so let us slow down. Let us slow down so that we can go in and we can tap into the ancestral wisdom, and we can expand the narrative out of which we operate. So that's what I love about Anita's work. She has written something that stimulates the imagination, and then we can imagine a larger way, a better way of being. So let us slow down because the times are urgent.
That's an amazing way to end, Dr. Love. Thank you so much. I'm thinking, here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's winter. And going back to what Dr. Love was sharing is that getting closer to the animals, getting close to nature. What happens in the winter? Animals hibernate. So this is the time to go within. This is the time to slow down. This is the time to hibernate. And the urgency is false. It's a creation from, just is false. And so they're urging you to go out and shop, fight people in Target to get a TV. Like they're urging you to do all these things, get all these presents. But what you can do is turn the urgency, the sense of urgency, to understand self and to connect with self and to connect with the well ancestors. But I would also offer to connect with the well family members that are still here when you go in to maybe go to dinner. You want to surround yourself with the well ones. So again, we are still in a pandemic. Continue to boost your immune system. Be urgent about that. Boosting your immune system, loving yourself, wearing your mask, washing your hands, all the things that you need to do to keep yourself safe. Next week, we are going to have Dr. Vicki Johnson, who is actually my mentor, to share soul wealth and how to connect and everything in this season of giving and receiving through the holidays. So join us next week for Dr. Vicki Johnson. But again, thank you, family. Gina, we miss you. Get some sleep over there in Ghana. And we'll see you all next time. So stay well, everybody. Peace.